Now, instead of going any deeper into GUI layout or the default Unity GUI function, I want to tell you how I like to do GUI, and it makes it a little bit. It's a little bit easier for me to do it this way instead of figuring out how to reposition these buttons, and it's not as intuitive as I would like it to be. So I'm just going to disable this object. Actually, I might have to just delete it. Let's start a new project, actually. New scene. So I'm just going to quickly recreate. Just quickly create a scene so we have something to look at. Right, so we have our basic scene here, and I am going to create a UI using this technique by basically adding another camera, and we can use that to sort of create UI on top of this view. So let's go to create camera. I'm going to rename this UI camera. Right, and you can see that this is already overriding the view a bit. That's because we have two cameras that's sort of competing with creating a view for the game. Now I want the UI camera to face the other way. That's the first thing I want to do. Right, so it doesn't look at whatever is on the screen or whatever I want to show in the scene. And then I have to change, let's see where it is now. Depth, right? So depth basically decides, think of it as like a layer to decide which camera is gonna draw on top of the other, right? So as you can see here, a camera with the larger depth value is drawn on top of one with a smaller value. So I'm going to set this as -1 and the other one as 1, right? So actually I want to do it the other way around. I'm going to set the main camera as -1 and the UI camera as 1, and then I want to make sure that I don't clear the flag. See, if I clear, then it means whatever I'm looking at, if there's nothing in front of it, it's just gonna show a skybox. But if I use a solid color, then it's going to show me a solid color. If I just don't clear, then it's not going to show anything. If there's nothing in front of it, it's just going to be transparent. Right. So I got my UI camera set up, and also I want it to be orthographic, because usually for UI stuff you want it to be, you don't necessarily want that 3D effect, right? You just want it to be, you just want it to look like 2D elements, right? And then I don't really need it to be that far. It doesn't need to look that far out. Okay, so I have the UI camera, and let's start creating some sort of UI so you can see where I'm going with this. I'm going to create a cube. I'm going to call this button. I'm just going to reposition it so that we can see it properly. And you can already see it there, right? And if I turn off the UI camera, you won't see that cube, because the main camera is looking this way. It's looking at these two things. The UI camera is looking at that way, and that's where we're going to set up all these UI elements. So I'm going to just scale this up. Make sure it's okay. Let's make sure that it's properly inside the view of the camera. And because it's orthographic, it doesn't really matter how far away it is, as long as it's inside this cube here, this box here. Okay, so we've got that button here. So what you can do is simply add, you can reposition it to wherever you want the button to be on the screen. And can just start using it as a normal game object. And I'm going to say idle and restart. So let's say if I'm creating a restart button, then I can just do a mouse down event and go to restart. And now restart the game here. Right, to make sure that we can see that effect, I'm just going to add a rigid body on the cube with physics, with gravity, so when we start the game, we just fall down. Right. Okay, and then on the button, I'm going to add the restart level, reload level. Action, so, okay, when you press play, okay, the game is running, and I can press on this, you can see that the game is reloaded. So that's how you can start creating your own UI system using Playmaker. And it's the thing I like about this is you can visually make changes. You can have the button do crazy things, like you can shake the button whenever it's clicked on. You can play sound effects. Basically, all you need to do is just treat it as a normal object, and then you can do all these things that you can do to any of these objects that we've been doing. So you can add all sorts of effect, you can change the way this looks. It gives you a lot more flexibility. So that's how I like to set up UI with Playmaker sometimes.